Running for office? Are you interested in learning about political vetting, political activists and elected officials, political viability, field campaigns, political mail, political social networking, candidate development, political fundraising, and more? Then my series, The Art of Democracy, is for you. If you stay tuned until the end of this episode, you will receive the best way to reach out to me. Before we get started, you need to know that I have fashioned this series based upon Sun Tzu's Art of War. Not to mention, it's one of my favorite reads over these past 40 years or so. After nearly 50 years in business, I have formulated my political approaches, actions, and goals on a structure that is not too dissimilar to a military operation, hence the art of war, or the art of democracy. You see, in business, political campaigns, everything needs to be applied strategically, efficiently, and effectively to be successful. My objective in this series is to pull back some of the darkness from our great democracy and offer some light. I believe that when we are informed, we can become inspired through that knowledge and clarity. With all my years, I have and I will continue to strive for transparency, integrity, and honesty in our political world. And it must be a fundamental part of our democracy. I mean, without it and our virtues, we might as well not even have a democracy. Therefore, my goal is to present to you the best that I can, the various aspects for running a political campaign. Please keep in mind, this is from the perspective of how I, a consultant, approaches the campaign. A little bit about me. In my life, I have been described as an optimist, an idealist, and yes, even a dreamer. I'm also one who has been in business since 1975. My first campaign was in 1982 as a publicity manager, and the number of campaigns under my belt I have exceeded over 4,000 over these past 40 plus years. My company is described as a design, print, mail, marketing, IT, list broker, and consultant. Nope. Although my company does general marketing, which consists of videography, I'm not adding videography to my list. But one more thing, full disclosure here. I am a Democrat, as my father was and my mother is. I'm a Latino, and I'm a union company. One more personal note, I frown on tribalism and judgmentalism. I think that they are both a poison to our democracy, in addition to the lack of virtues. Don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of being both in the past, but I strive to not be anymore. So please indulge me. What if we could explain every dimension aspect of political campaigns, provide light and clarity? And what if a strengthened democracy means a stronger nation of the people, by the people, and for the people? You have just met the dreamer part of me. I know that my series will not answer every question, but I am prepared to try and answer as many as I can. FYI, keep an eye out for another series of The Art of Democracy I'm creating, Politics for Beginners. It seems that many are unknowing of even the basics, and that's normal. So who wants to talk politics? For that matter, let's talk religion. Yeah, not me. All I see in those subjects is butting heads and moving nowhere. In this series, I only want to talk about the how-tos in political campaigns. Keep in mind, I have fashioned this series for the more experienced campaigners. Put your helmets and your seatbelts on and let's get ready. This series will focus on what I refer to as the dimensions of campaigning. Here's the skinny. There are many dimensions of campaigning in our democracy. I will present to you only 11. Other dimensions exist, and I may consider doing a series that may include, let's say, the third house or lobbyists. And these are the groups that have a strong transparency element along with laws and rules guiding them. Unfortunately, you have to be in the know to find them. I'm thinking about embedded staff. While a candidate will come and go, these are the groups or staff that stay, learning, knowing, and sometimes controlling, kind of like the movie The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Sorry, Clint Eastwood. Anyway, also PACs, political action committees, organizations or service groups, basically the community influencers, and a portion of the funding sources, the vested. They are those who can gain or lose financially, depending on who the victor is. Their MO can be quite destructive, unjust, unethical, and in some cases illegal. But it's for the future generations to work on that. So again, this is the Order Democracy for campaigns only. This full series will cover no less than 12 episodes, including this introduction. My guess is that follow-up episodes will expand this. But rounding out the number one spot, number one, initial estimations. Vetting. I will try to explain in the next episode about the vetting process. And while these vetting sessions can take up to 6 hours, I promise to give you the condensed version. And with any luck, questions might facilitate a decent answers for a follow-up video as well. Number two, viability. In this session, I will cover the two basic areas of candidate viability, financial and victory or success in their efforts. Number three, intelligence. In this section, I will cover the basics of alliances, strengths and weaknesses, campaign budget, financeability, and governance and compliances. Number four, heavens and the earth. Here I will discuss the political environment, history, the vested and the embedded, as well as the terrain, weather, business, physical obstacles or barriers. Number five, message, slogan, and color. Here we will discuss the foundation of your campaign, discussing the best prospect for your color, slogan, and message. 6. Candidate development. The depth of this section depends on your vetting and whether you are a new candidate or an elected official running again. Regardless, every campaign is or can be a restart. The areas in this episode are almost like a checkoff list for the campaign. 7. Fundraising. This episode will typically be the hardest for the candidate, as I tend to focus more on the candidate's own ability to be successful. We cover the various methods and process of raising funds. 8. Marketing. While this focuses heavily on item 3 above, it also covers many other areas of importance. Venues, methodology of approach, matrix, preemptive, and rapid responses. Number 9, direct mail. Probably one of the more complex aspects of the political work. I'll explore this process from the perspective of a consultant, designer, printer, and a mailhouse company. Number 10, field campaigns. Here, we will cover the type of, the development of, the management of, and all the necessary resources for a grassroots field campaign. Last on the list, number 11, social networking. While this subject is relatively new over these past 5 to 10 years, it has grown to be complex and extremely dynamic. And from my perspective, it will be the most successful in campaigning for the future. Whoa, that was a lot. But if none of it makes any sense, please understand that this is a normal reaction, unless you're a professional campaigner. It's because campaigns are typically only every other year. Some candidates are on a short-term run every 2 years, some every 4 years, and very few every 6 years, like the U.S. Senate. It's always a baptismal by fire when working on a political campaign. Afterwards, you either rest, leave, or stay for the next one. Try to remember what the previous one was is not always easy. Only a small few like myself work campaigns nearly every year. So please be patient with me. I've created a free consultation link on my calendar of a half hour to go over questions and answers. Now, sometimes people are interested in knowing what I charge as a consultant. If they simply want consultation time like 2 hours or 4-hour time slots, I can do this as well with my calendar and payment process for those amounts of time. Keep in mind, there's an intake form and a few days heads up is required. Second, you can email me at info@leadingedgedata.com. You can text me as well and leave your name and number with a subject line of your question. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. If you like this series and you think this series is for you, hit the subscribe, like, and notifications to be kept informed on my new episodes that are coming up. Also, feel free to buy me a coffee. Well, that's it for this one. Please feel free to leave any questions or comments below. I'll do my best to respond as quickly as possible, as the clock is ticking for the California 2024 primary. See you soon. A su servicio, at your service, Jess Cervantes.